Hi there, and welcome to today's webinar about our New World New Solutions. This is Aaron Sachs, Senior Product and Technical Training Manager with Hanwha Techwin America. And with me today, we have Jordan Rivchin, Leader of Retail Solutions and Strategy.
Good morning, everyone. So as the world returns or enters into this new normal, as we call it, it means a lot of different things for all of our customers and their customers as well. According to the National Retail Federation, the ABA, the CDC, and other governing bodies and organizations, we understand that as a organization, regardless of our vertical market, we're doing things to make sure that businesses can either stay open safely or reopen safely. As you look at some of the guidelines that I've posted here on the screen, businesses should establish protocols for monitoring store occupancy, or employers are mandated or obligated to make sure that their employees are wearing PPEs to keep themselves safe as well as their customers, keep them safe out of harm's way, help slow the curve, and make sure that businesses can maintain safe operations. So as we've done this, our organization has invested heavily in the development of solutions based around maintaining safe business operations in this new normal. What Aaron and I are going to do today is take you through some of the solutions that Hanwha Techwin America has created specifically for COVID, but will help you with life hopefully beyond as well. Some of the solutions that we're going to talk about today include our occupancy monitoring application, face mask detection analytics, social distancing detection analytics, and lastly, we'll cover our body temperature detection solution that will be released later this year. The first solution that we'll cover today is our occupancy monitoring application. A lot of what Aaron and I will go back and forth on today is driven from our new P-Series AI camera. Aaron can talk a little bit about this camera, and then we'll probably get into the nuts and bolts of how this occupancy monitoring application will work.
Yeah, I'll show you in the next couple slides some examples, but yeah, so what we have here, and here's a little video we can play. This shows you how the AI camera on the right, this is the video from the webpage, it's just at a normal angle of a normal surveillance camera, and it's using AI to detect people crossing that line. So you'll see there's a line drawn with an arrow into the door of a storeway, and the AI camera can accurately track people coming in, coming out, multiple people at one time. And on the left, we're seeing a occupancy count telling someone in front of the store, is it safe to go in? What is the occupancy count of the store? And we'll talk about in a moment different ways to display that, of how we can show that messaging, that signage to your customers. So you'll see here we can have customized messaging. We can connect up multiple cameras. So if you have multiple entrances or different exits and entrances, there's also alarm outputs to trigger lights or a beacon, audio notifications, or opening and closing automatic doors, things like that. So we have a video that I'll play here. It just kind of shows the whole solution. It shows you the compatible cameras. We'll show you this as well in a moment. We can use a standard, like I said, a standard surveillance view and not just an overhead view that traditional people counting cameras have. Here's a demonstration showing, again, people entering into a zone. There's a monitor on the right. That monitor is connected to a PC, to a web browser, and it's showing us the occupancy count. Once we've exceeded the occupancy, the screen changes to red, saying please wait. And then once someone leaves, crosses back that virtual line, it then says you can proceed, and it continues with that count there. And here you can see on the left is the view of what the camera was seeing, of what that virtual line was created that we were seeing. And on the right, again, is the occupancy count application. Here you can see the compatible camera models. We have indoor, outdoor cameras. We have flush mount, box, and bullet cameras, all from our P-AI 4K series of cameras.
Yeah, Aaron, this is a great point just to make on that slide if we can go back. So, a lot of our customers are concerned about limiting occupancy before people enter their business location. So the fact that we can deploy this in a Vandal Dome or a Bullet outside of that premises, and then have a monitor displaying that allows that outdoor type of environment to be utilized, where in past, many of these cameras needed to be deployed inside of a vestibule or a lobby.
Right, definitely. We have a white paper that talks about distances in angles. The key piece is that the AI camera needs to be able to detect a person. So we have parameters available for how many pixels, what type of size and distances that the AI camera needs to be able to see to detect a person. And there's also part of our white paper talks about things like occlusion, how many pixels we need to detect a face or a head, how much can be occluded or overlapped with multiple people entering and exiting. So there's a lot of variability there. The AI camera gives you a lot of flexibility of it's very intelligent, and a traditional camera, if there was any overlap, it wouldn't be able to see it. It would see two people as one, but AI takes care of all of that. In terms of the application that you were seeing driven on a web page, and we'll talk about some other options in a minute, it's very customizable. So you can change the different elements. You can change the name of the store, the welcome message, or please wait message. You can change the count based on, usually you have a fire code, and everyone's reducing their occupancy by 50%, 25%. And so you can put that count in there. You can put the message of how many people are allowed. You can have some scrolling text at the bottom, where, we want to keep you safe. Here are our store hours, things like that. And then there's a logo on the bottom left that you can upload a company logo as well. So very customizable to give it your own look and feel. And we've got a couple different solutions here of ways to set up this whole application. So obviously, example one, we have the AI camera with the Occupancy app. It's a free app that gets loaded and runs on the edge of the AI camera. That connects up to our switch. In option one, very basic, very simple, is you have a PC of some sort. PC is a web browser. That web browser connects into the app that's on the AI camera and displays a web page on a monitor that's being displayed. Example number two, same thing, but we're now connecting some relay outputs from the AI camera to give you that visual notification on a beacon, on a light, or opening, closing automatic doors, things like that. Example three is where it gets really cool, is for people who don't want a PC, they want to have a serverless and a PC-less solution that's really plug and play, ready to go. So we can use our video decoder, or even our Wave VMS, or even our NVRs, and we can register an RTSP video stream from the camera, and that way it's just rock solid. We don't need a PC. We don't need to log into a browser or Windows, and it can be a little bit more of a industrial application where we have a hardware device that just sits behind the monitor and displays that content. And here you can see another demonstration. Someone's going to be walking past that virtual line. The count will increase, and he's just walking around and around just to show a quick example of how this works, how simple it is. Each time he goes around that loop, goes crossing that line, the count increases. When it gets to the maximum allowed, the screen will change. And now you'll see he's going to walk the other way to show someone leaving the store, and then it will then count back down, allowing someone to enter. Okay. Our next solution is talking about, again, the same camera series, the WiseNet P series, our 4K AI cameras. There's a lot of talk about detecting, are people wearing a face mask properly? This could be customers. This could be, I want to notify a customer, hey, you're not wearing a mask, please wear a mask. This could be for the employee side to be able to, for HR, for training, to let your employees know, hey, you need to be wearing the face coverings properly. So this will be a free of charge firmware upgrade coming out for these cameras. It will add in a new analytic. So our AI cameras, again, like I said, already detect people and detect a face. So now we're going to be detecting an attribute of that face, of are they wearing a mask? And you can enable that to detect a mask or no mask wearing. and then trigger an event output. So play a sound file, trigger an alarm output, play a message in my VMS, however you want to do it there. So very simple, very easy, and integrated there.
Yeah, Aaron. As we talk about face mask detection, you could turn on the news every day and you see the controversy of who's wearing, what retailer, what organization, what governing body, what location has now implemented mandatory masks. I think most retailers specifically are very hesitant to enforce that. They don't want that negative or potentially controversial interaction with one of their employees and a potential customer. So leveraging this type of technology and eliminating that human in the loop and letting an audio message play, or to your point, use it for compliance or HR purposes, this really lets technology do the heavy lifting and takes that person out of the loop. I just saw in the news last night the CDC said the most common violation within restaurants right now is that employees aren't wearing their masks or their masks aren't being worn properly. So this can definitely help in that regard.
Yeah, definitely. And again, our white paper, we have information about, the width of a face, how many pixels we need to be able to detect a face. So again, deploying a solution, we can refer to our white paper, get our engineers involved to make sure it's deployed properly. This solution here on the AI cameras can detect up to 10 masks per second. And then we can have, like I mentioned, an event action. When the mask is not detected, play a sound file. If you have a speaker connected to the camera, we can record or upload a sound clip to the camera, and then that gets played, gets triggered automatically as a standalone solution. Going along with that, we recognize that our AI cameras have some great features and performance, but that's a newer line that's only been out for a couple months. So we have a solution that's in partnership with H2 Technologies that works with our Wisnet X series cameras. So often if you already have existing cameras in a lobby, in a facility, and you want to retrofit and add additional features, add an additional analytic to give you that edge-based capability for detecting when someone's not wearing a face mask. So you'll see the example here at the bottom, very simple. We have a camera looking at a doorway. We can display this. We can do a simple monitoring solution with just a workstation, a web browser. Depending on your VMS, if you're using the Wave VMS, you could be using the Wave VMS to view it. And then you can also have an audio notification to, like we mentioned, to let your customers know. There's a short video I'll show here. And this is showing when someone walks into the facility properly, wearing a face covering, everything looks normal. This is in our Wave VMS. And then when I walk in not wearing a mask or improperly wearing a mask, you'll see an event happen. It'll flash green, an event notifications on the right-hand side. There's an option for a bookmark. There's options for audible messages. It's very flexible, but it's that easy, and that's how it would appear. This application, again, runs on the edge of the camera. It can detect up to 4 people, and it's compatible with select Wisnet X series cameras.
And Aaron, that's a one-time license, correct? That is not a monthly or annual license.
Right. So the edge-based application is a one-time fee per camera. It adds that analytic, adds that capability. And then if you're integrating it to Wave or other platforms, great. But again, it's a one-time for that camera. So yeah, definitely. I just showed that. A couple other pieces here. It's designed to detect people at about 16.5 feet away, up to, depending on the lens of the camera. It can detect up to 4 people at a time. It can detect people, again, not wearing a mask or improperly wearing a mask. And if they have things like hat glasses or other head coverings, it can still function then. Again, it's a plug-and-play system, no servers required. It's web browser based to configure, and it's very quick and easy. Like I mentioned, it also does integrate to the Wave VMS. I'll show here. This just shows the web page of it. Very quick and easy for configuration. There's only a couple settings to configure. You'll see alarm events can be displayed right here on the web page, so you can very quickly see the feedback of it, how it's working. In the Wave VMS, I'll just fast forward a little bit here. Again, you'll see you get this event notification on the right-hand side. You get bookmarks will show up, and then you can do advanced integrations from there. You have it do other actions. I think in a second here you'll see the bookmarks. Yep, Oops, sorry about that. The bookmarks will show up, so that way for compliance, for playback, you can see the color coding of the video at the bottom very quickly and easily to review your footage there. Again, there's a variety of ways to set it up. Like we mentioned, you got the application itself, you got the web page for configuration, and then there's also the web page for viewing or monitoring, or you can use the Wave VMS for monitoring.
And again, you know, I think what's interesting to note about this is a lot of these analytics in the past, you needed heavy servers, GPUs to power these analytics. This while it does have deep learning in terms of the algorithm, like Aaron mentioned, is deployed completely on the edge of our camera using our open platform.
Yep. And this list shows the compatible cameras here. These are the 2 megapixel cameras, with one exception. We have a couple. We have one of our 5 megapixel indoor flush mount cameras as well. We recommend using a varifocal camera lens with simple focus and its installation and adjustment easy. Some of our cameras with an ultra wide angle field of view lens might have a limited detection range because it's such a wide angle lens. Using the standard lenses, this table here shows kind of the distances and the heights you can install the camera. The key thing is the vertical and horizontal angle. The application can detect up to a plus and minus 30 degree angle. And then also the application needs between 120 and 160 pixels to detect a face and look at that face and analyze it for the face mask. So we have, this is a reference here showing approximately 120 pixels wide. And we have a tool built into our camera and built into the app to help you to determine that. This is where having a varifocal lens camera where you can remotely adjust it. So if you're not getting the detection you want, you don't have enough pixels, you can just zoom it in very quickly and easily. And we have a brochure and a white paper that kind of describes, shows you some examples here of the height and distances for detecting for installing these cameras. The one thing to note, like I mentioned, the ultra wide angle 2.8 millimeter lenses, you have a limited detection range. So you can only go out to, you can see here in the blue box, the 8.2 feet. So be careful, be cautious with some of those cameras, but the other cameras with the bigger lenses can have the full range of flexibility there. We also support a tripod mount installation. We see a lot of locations, somebody might just be an office facility, for example, where they need to install something quickly. They might not have a camera in the ceiling already. So we have a variety of cameras we can tripod mount, get an application up and running in minutes without needing to install and run cabling, conduit, all of that. Like I mentioned, the installation of the application is very, very simple. It's built into the web page of the camera. There's only 4 or 5, 6 different options on the left-hand side, including the integration to the Wave VMS is built right into the application. So it really only takes a minute or two to get this up and running. Especially with this global pandemic, having a technician on site can be very costly and it's not fun, right? They're wearing lots of PPE. They want to get out of there as quickly as possible. So we designed this to be very, very simple to work with. Like I mentioned, there's a live view where you can view the live videos of the camera. You have your alarms on the right-hand side. There's a flashing light. There's a timestamp. There's a red box around the person's face saying, hey, there's an event. There's also an audible message that says, please wear a face covering or face mask. And that can be customer-facing. The audio can be piped into the customers, or it can be for a operator, a guard, an employee for monitoring. And again, in the Wave VMS, like I mentioned, here's just another view showing we can view live, we can view the events, there's bookmarks, and other actions can then take place to integrate your system. And then one last application here I'll show you. This is just another video recording here showing even at nighttime with IR cameras, with multiple people walking back to back. On the left is the Wave VMS, on the right is the camera's interface. And you can
please wear a face mask. Please wear a face mask.
Hopefully you're able to hear the audio. Hopefully it'll share it. That's the application's built-in audio message notification. Anything else to add to that?
No, I think, again, whether you deploy the new latest and greatest technology with the P series or you have existing X series in a deployment or looking to deploy, nonetheless, there's a lot of flexibility in how you can leverage that technology in any type of environment. Again, if you have it at a key choke point, an entrance, a dining area, wherever you want masks to be worn, or wherever your policy is that masks need to be worn, the flexibility is really up to you as the end user to leverage this technology in whatever your environment may be. So, no, I think you did a great job there, Aaron.
Great. And then why don't you take it off with tell us about the social distancing?
Yeah, so of course, physical distancing, or social distancing as many call it, is one of the other keys to help, slow the curve, stop the spread of COVID-19 coronavirus. Having said that, not every environment is conducive to deploy technology like this, but many environments are. Many establishments, businesses, schools are interested in whether it's addressing social distancing from a training or awareness perspective, or really addressing it, to make sure that their staff, their visitors, their customers, or their students are not getting too close to one another. What's great about this social distancing detection solution that we've deployed here is that you can deploy it with existing cameras. So in this case, we are using a server in conjunction with existing cameras in deployment, and this analytic that Aaron will demonstrate here in a second with the video will highlight. You can define what an adequate distance is, adequate social or physical distance between two individuals, and you could essentially alert in real time when violations of that predefined physical distance occurs. This could be deployed again inside or outside, so the environment really doesn't matter. Of course, there's going to be some constraints on field of view, and Aaron can talk us through that as well. But this is extremely flexible. A great way, again, to integrate into a solution like our WiseNet Wave VMS, or a select few others as well, that you can alert when people are too close. Again, could be a training. Hopefully students are going to be going back to school here, so I know some school districts are looking at how they can address the notion of social distancing in their environments. This is surely a technology that can help. So I'll let Aaron kind of play the video, and we'll talk through a little bit more as well.
Yep, yeah, and this can also be used, the customer-facing side, or back office, employee-facing. This could be used, again, HR compliance. You might have a warehouse or other places, and you want to keep your employees safe, and being able to use this to, retrain your employees of, hey, make sure we're working properly in the back office. It can detect things like overcrowding, over occupancy in certain zones, or just the social distancing. So here, I'll play this video, and you'll see on the right-hand side, that's the view that the application sees. And it's putting a box around the people, and it puts like a red bubble around people. And if people violate that space, it detects that the perspective, and that you're closer in the front and further away in the back. And it puts that red bounding box around you. And you'll see in the Wave VMS on our notification panel, it said social distancing violation. So each time that happens, people get too close, they invade someone's bubble of personal space, social distancing space. It will then generate that event. And then in Wave, we can have an event do something. We can have it play a sound file, or pop up, or start recording bookmark, whatever. But again, this could be used just for employee training, to remind them, hey, the world is different. We have to keep our distance and operate differently.
Yeah, again, a lot of flexibility in terms of what that generic event notification looks like. As you mentioned, audio could be a light, could be some sort of bookmark alert that you can go back after the fact and forensically address the compliance. So really it's up to you to define how you want to alert and alarm and leverage these capabilities from our solution.
And because it works with existing cameras, this is an application where you can have existing cameras in your facility, and we're adding this social distancing, we're adding this behavior detection to it without necessarily having to install new cameras everywhere and new configuration. This is an application, an appliance that gets dropped into place, gets configured with the cameras and integrated, and it's quick and easy to get it up and running and add that functionality that everyone knows that they need to do for compliance nowadays.
Yeah, and to kind of bring it all together, and I know we haven't talked about body temperature detection yet, but technically you could deploy all of these solutions, either separately or together. Again, because this social distancing detection can leverage existing cameras, you could do the occupancy with the AI camera, you could do the face mask detection with the AI camera, and you can bring the stream through here and do all of those together, within Wave as well.
Right. As long as you're, keeping it straight and let's work on this one first, then do this, keeping it straight. Correct. You can build a multi-point approach to keep your facility safe. Yep.
Yep.
And this just shows here again some of the information about the social distancing and the ideas of it. It's designed to look for only for people, trigger alerts to then notify people. There's a dashboard you can view. Like I mentioned, it's a scalable solution, and of course, most importantly, it's fully integrated with our Wave VMS as well as some other VMSs to give you a full solution. And then the last piece here, there's been a lot of talk about temperature detection, fevers, and there's a lot of different ways to do it, a lot of different ways to do it. So we're doing an estimated body temperature camera. It's going to be available later this year. We've started to take some pre-orders and provide some basic information about it. So it's a bispectral thermal camera with AI. So it's a dual-headed camera. It has a visible camera, so that way you get a recording of the person, they're walking up, any body mannerisms of what they're doing, are they keeping social distancing, all of that. But then there's, and it uses the visible camera to also detect the face, detect the bounding box of a person. It then sends that information that it uses with AI, it sends that to the thermal head, to the thermal sensor, to look for an elevated body temperature. And the idea for this is for screening. The idea is you have people entering a facility, they come into a doorway, they go through a lobby, there's typically some sort of pig pen, there's some sort of routing of the people. It gives them some time to get out of the heat or the cold, to get them away from the sunlight from a doorway, and then get them to a choke point where we can then screen them. And the screening is accurate with a black body and an optional black body to plus or minus 0.54, so about half a degree Fahrenheit. Without a black body, it's closer to 0.9 or closer to 1 degree. So we recommend the black body. And the idea is, obviously, we all know there are asymptomatic spreaders. You don't always have a fever or elevated temperature, but it is one of the symptoms that people want to be screening for. So the idea is to have a camera-based system that, number one, gives you recorded footage, but number two, it's a quick way to do quick detection, quick screening of people as they enter a facility. That if someone alarms that they're too hot, we can then pull them out to the side to do secondary screening. And there's lots of guidance from the FDA and other international organizations of what that means. Of, oh, you failed the screening, go over here, let's wait 5 or 10 minutes to make sure you're not elevated because you were jogging to get to the building, it's really hot outside, and then use a secondary tool, an FDA approved thermometer or other things to take another temperature screening before they're allowed into the facility.
Couple of things to touch on, Aaron. A lot of our customers have asked, well, I've seen that you guys already have thermals out there, or radiometric cameras. To address that, we do, but as an organization, we felt very strongly that we wanted to create a purpose-built solution that is literally released only for this purpose. Now, it could be repurposed in the future to do radiometric functions, but this is a camera that we have already submitted for FDA 510K approval, and it is being released for one purpose and one purpose only, along with that FDA approval once released. So we do have several thermal and radiometric cameras in our lineup today. We do not sell or recommend those to be used for this purpose.
Definitely, yeah. And like you mentioned, Jordan, this camera has other purposes. You can use it. There will be other applications where people want a thermal and a visible camera. It has some neat analytics. But when we use it in the elevated body temperature mode, it changes kind of how the way it works. And that's kind of the ultimate design for it. You'll see on this slide here, it shows some examples of being able to screen multiple people at distances up to 14 feet. The other important thing to know is, yes, the camera can do that. Again, you typically want to have the black body in the field of view of the camera. But the other piece is, according to FDA and other guidance from other agencies, typically, you want that choke point. You want to be screening one person at a time. So you'll get better accuracy,
right,
better results, and just following best practice guidelines. So again, some of the benefits of a thermal body temperature detection or looking for elevated body temperature, it's non-contact. We don't have to go up to a device and put our face right in front of something, which has some other issues there. So no physical contact. It provides an immediate notification on screen if you have a PC or the Wave VMS connected. There'll be an overlay. There'll be a bounding box around your head with a red or green. There'll be your temperature is indicated over top of your head there. So very easy and visible. You can have events triggering in your VMS or other applications. There's alarm outputs if you need to trigger a strobe light to flash or something like that, as well as there's a buzzer. So just an audible buzzer. So if you have a staff member there, they can be notified. So those are kind of the pieces there to it.
Yep.
Again, easy to set up, easy to use. However, again, the black body is typically recommended. The black body needs to be in the field of view of the camera, and the black body takes some time to initially calibrate. So if you're coming in first in the morning, just like a normal store, you put the lights on, you do your routine, that black body needs to be turned on, brought to temperature.
And Aaron, you mentioned in the first slide that this is available for pre-sale right now. We're obviously getting a lot of questions around this camera. Some of the frequently asked questions that are coming up, are around what other devices can you hook this up to, whether it's, in a relay for a light, some other visible sensor to indicate, whether it's a stop or a go. Can you talk through, what those features or functions look like from the camera, so folks can understand what they can do with it outside of just the VMS?
Sure, definitely. Well, and before that, in terms of the VMS, obviously it's compatible with our Wisnet Wave VMS that uses our standard API. It's also ONVIF compliant, so that way you bring it to other VMSs, they'll get alerts that there's an event or an analytic happens. Does the VMS know it's a elevated body temperature alert? That depends on the integration, but it does have ONVIF implementation, of course. In terms of the camera itself, so it has a buzzer, which is new. We don't have any other cameras with buzzers. Again, that way, if there's a individual screening at the entryway of a facility, they'll hear that audible alert. Besides that, the camera has multiple alarm inputs and outputs. So the idea is those alarm outputs can go to any type of device. Typically, you'll have a relay that's in line. It triggers that relay, and then that's going to flash a strobe light or a red light for 5 or 10 seconds. Or we could do it where maybe you have a gate arm that's up or a turnstile that's open, and when that trigger is closed because there's a high temperature reading, the turnstile closes, the gate comes down, the red light turns on, or an audio file plays. There's audio on the camera, so we could have an audio message being played directly from the camera saying, please wait for secondary screening or whatever.
Great. Yeah, those are definitely some of the questions that are coming up. And again, new technology in terms of the specific function for us, for resources on it. Obviously, you can reach out to Aaron or myself or anyone on the Hanwha field team to address those specific questions that you or your customer may have.
Yep, and you'll see we do have a data sheet, list all of the specifications. But it's important to note that it shows two modes, like we mentioned. There's the estimated body temperature mode, And then there's the normal radiometric, which is more like our traditional cameras. So some of the settings, some of the specs will change depending on the mode you're in. Again, the camera is really designed to be a purpose-built camera for this function. It's got a 4 and 4.7 millimeter lens. It has SD memory card slots. Some people are concerned about privacy, so they're keeping this completely off their network and not integrated to anything else. So we do have an SD card slot, so if you want to have some recording capability that's, again, not on the network. It is a PoE Plus powered or 12-volt DC powered device. Again, some people aren't integrating this to their network, so they don't have a PoE switch. They want to just have a 12-volt, plug it into a power strip, plug in a laptop to be able to view it, and it's completely standalone. So there's lots of ways to do that. Like Jordan mentioned, the camera, we are working to get FDA 501(k) certified. That is pending. Again, does the camera require a black box? No, but it's recommended for a better temperature accuracy. I mentioned the accuracy and it's listed there. And again, the ideal distance is about 3.3 to 16 feet away. Again, there's other guidance from other government agencies and recommendations. Again, keeping the screening, the field of view away from doors, windows, glass, HVAC, vents, things like that. So the design is to put the camera into the right application, the right environment, so it performs properly.
You got it.
Any other comments there?
No, look, again, I mentioned, for additional details, of course, we have spec sheets. You have what Aaron and I just shared here, but feel free to reach out to myself. My contact information is here. You could always visit our website or reach out to your local Hanwha sales representative to get any of this information. Again, as new products continue to be released, whether for COVID or for others, visit our website for more information on that. If you'd like to schedule a deeper dive in any of this technology, we'd be happy to take you through that as well. If it is technology that we have today, unlike the thermal, we can absolutely help support an on-site demo. Of course, practicing physical and social distancing and wearing PPEs, etc. But we're definitely firm believers in seeing is believing. So trying something out and seeing how it works in your environment is key to our success as a manufacturer as well. We definitely appreciate your time, and again, feel free to reach out with any questions.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Be safe.